Crutchfield Jacobs. Many people don't know what that is. They've never heard of it. They've never encountered anyone that they knew of that had it, but it is a disease that's caused by a pathogen, and funeral service providers are at most at risk, I believe, these days. It's mad cow disease. What did they do with them when they found out they had mad cow disease? They killed them. Well, with Crutchfield Jacobs, you only have about 18 months to live once you contract that particular pathogen. Today I'm going to explain the OSHA standards for bloodborne pathogens and how they relate to us as funeral service providers. As funeral service professionals, we're constantly at risk for contracting many diseases that are potentially deadly. And so it's in our program, it's important for us to study these standards that OSHA has set forth for us. The understanding our standards and how they are detrimental to us in our careers is basically the point of this speech. The OSHA standards are there to protect us from the harmful chemicals and infectious materials that we come in contact with on a daily basis. The standard took effect in March of 1992, and its purpose was to limit exposure to employees who had to deal with blood or other bodily fluids. Per the bloodborne standard, employees are to establish a written exposure control plan, and this is basically just if you are contaminated, what do you need to do? What steps do you need to take, and what are your rights, and what should be provided to you? One of the requirements under this regulation is the use of PPE, which is personal protective equipment. And it's very much like what Rufus is wearing, which is a gown, a paper gown, waterproof, a mask, and also gloves. There should be signs on the door going into the prep room that let you know that it's time to put your protective clothing on. And that sign is one of these. Usually there's more than one of these on the door. Their employers should also instruct their employees on the proper use of their PPE. And the use of PPE varies depending on the job. But that's very important to understand what you're supposed to do. According to OSHA.gov, under the Methods of Compliance section of the regulation, contamination with universal precautions should be used at all times, and that's basically the idea that all bodily fluids and blood are to be treated as known infectious material. They're also for HIV, HBV, and other pathogens. It's better to err on the side of caution when dealing with these possibly infectious material. The employer under this code should also provide hand washing stations or facilities and make sure that the employees are using the soap and water that's provided to them. It's also very important if an employee were to get a potentially infectious material in their eye or in their mouth, they need to flush that out with water immediately. And they should follow the proper guidelines for disposal of sharps. Sharps should not be bent, nor should they be recapped with both hands, and unless the employer can prove that they use a mechanical device or a one-hand method, they should not recap with both hands. There should be no eating, drinking, or putting on makeup in a place that has the potential for infectious material. And it's required that the employers provide hepatitis B vaccinations, the series of hepatitis vaccinations, and a follow-up control plan. Just basically saying that you have access to information from the source contaminant, and that's about it. You're entitled to vaccination. In conclusion, it's just very important for us to ensure our safety and to make sure that we're doing all that we can to protect ourselves in this business and exercise caution at all times.